What did you guys do on the weekend?
On Saturday,
I went to the new cafe and had bubble tea.
how about you?
Oh, it was cheap icons night. There was like cute guys there.
Oh my god, did they play hip hop's music?
Totally.
I went to the Cheesecakes Factory, and next week I'm gonna go to the karaoke club. You should come.
Totally.
What about you, Sandra? What did you do on the weekend?
I studied.
You totally don't want to belong to our group, do you?
Well, stay here and study if you want. We're gonna have lunch at the Spaghetti's restaurant.
Here, Teacher Bo, you can use my extra plastics fork.
Thank you, Sandra. But it is your fork, isn't it?
Yes, you can have it.
I mean, you own it, right?
Yes.
You just told me that plastic owns the fork.
I did?
We live in a world of ownership. Everywhere you look, people are buying things, making things, and trying to belong to things. And with so many things in our life, it's also important to be able to describe them. The trouble for English language learners, though, is that they often confuse possession and description, especially as they translate from their own language into English. To express their ideas, they also often create strange grammatical structures, or what I call English weirdness. In this series, we're examining these and other English irregularities that aren't typically found in textbooks and lessons, but which can cause serious miscommunication. And in this episode, we'll answer an important question. A question which may help us understand both grammar and friendships. Can plastic own the fork?
Teacher Bo, my friend think I'm not cool.
Those girls were your friends? They sure didn't treat you very nicely. Besides, their grammar isn't very cool.
Really? Did they use English word?
They sure did. For example, one of them said, "We're gonna have lunch at the Spaghetti's restaurant."
Is it wrong?
Well, it's pretty weird. Come on, let's break it down. Okay, what's this word?
Well, it's a noun.
And what's this?
The apostrophe means possession.
So your friend was trying to express that someone named Spaghetti owns the restaurant?
No, teacher. They want to express what type of restaurant it is, what kind.
So she wanted to describe the restaurant. But in an English sentence, what part of speech does that?
Adjective. But this is not an adjective.
That's right. Your friend used a possessive to express a description. I was in Japan once and I dropped these on the sidewalk. A nice man walking behind me told me I had dropped my kuruma no kagi, which means car's keys. But I own the keys, not the car. By the way, this is a very common grammar error, especially among students whose native language is Chinese, Korean, or Japanese.
But teacher, I speak Chinese. Do I make this error?
You do, Sandra. Not often, but occasionally, yes. As I said, it's a very common error. Now, let's see why.
Sure, Teacher Paul.
First, let's review how possessives work in a sentence. We sometimes call this integral relation because not all of them express ownership exactly. In this structure, we use a noun plus apostrophe plus another noun, like Paul's pizza. I ordered and paid for this pizza, so it's mine, right? I possess it. It belongs to me.
Can we also say the pizza of Paul, teacher?
Sure. We can reverse the structure and the meaning is basically the same. Paul's pizza, pizza of Paul. Although Paul's pizza is a bit more natural. However, we should only use these reversible structures when the meaning fits into one of these categories: ownership, family relationships, parts of the body, creation, places, times, categories, and attribution. To express these meanings, you can choose either the apostrophe or the of structure, and there's no difference in meaning.
Got it.
But what happens if a noun doesn't fit into one of those categories? We can't always reverse them like this. Not, for example, when we express abstract concepts, such as friendship, or inanimate objects, objects that are not alive, such as pizza or spaghetti. These nouns cannot possess another noun.
But teacher, why does this create weirdness for Japanese, Korean, and Chinese speaker like me?
In Chinese, how do you show possession? For example, Paul's pizza.
We use a possession marker called 的 Paul 的 pizza.
Good. And Korean uses something similar, Japanese uses no. So in Japanese, you would say, Poru no pizza. Now, how do you express what kind or type of nouns these are in Chinese?
友情的问题.
Okay. And if you translate this directly to English, what happens?
But teacher Paul, these are possessives.
It's a problem, right? Now we know that abstract and inanimate nouns cannot possess other nouns in English. And friendship is an abstract noun. Spaghetti is inanimate.
That's so weird.
Okay, Sandra, let's test it. What kind of box is this in Chinese?
披萨的盒子. It means pizza's box. Pizza is a noun, but it's not alive, so it can't own the box, right?
And it sure didn't pay for it. I did.
Cool.
So you can see why an Asian learner might make this error when they translate this meaning into English or use other structures to try and express their idea. They might end up creating a possessive structure using an abstract or inanimate noun.
But teacher Paul, I'm sure I've heard English speaker using noun plus noun structure.
Good observation, Sandra. It's now time to introduce you to a very special English structure. It's incredibly common in English, but it's sort of hiding right in front of us. Many native speakers don't even realize they're using it. And many English learners don't even know they should be using it. It's called the noun adjunct. This is interesting, right? In Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, it seems that you can use the same structure to show possession and description. So it's clear that in English, we don't need the special marker like Chinese, Korean, or Japanese do. But we can also put two nouns or noun phrases side by side with no apostrophe.
Really? But you said this makes weirdness.
Only if there's an apostrophe.
But if it doesn't express possession, what does it express?
It expresses description. The first noun acts like an adjective. It describes the second noun.
You mean a noun can function as an adjective? I had no idea.
It sure can, and frequently does. So you can see why so many students make this mistake. They think if they use a noun plus noun, it has to be a possessive.
But it can also function as an adjective.
Right. Now here's another question. Can adjectives be plural? Can we say, for example, Paul has a Browns jacket or a Blues shirt?
No, it's weird. And it sounds like a possessive again.
Exactly.
So that means if I'm expressing a description, the first noun must be singular. No S.
You got it. This is called the noun adjunct. And it's very common, Sandra. I mean, just look around the room. They're everywhere. Water bottle. Water is a noun. School books. School is a noun. Toy moose. Toy is a noun. File cabinet. Pizza box. Winter coat. Vancouver photo. Some noun adjuncts are so common, they even become compound nouns, two nouns mixed into one word, such as backpack or textbook, or even classmates.
Wow, Teacher Paul. Noun adjuncts really are hiding right in front of us. They're everywhere. But Teacher Paul, earlier you said school books. You made it plural.
You're right, but that was on the second noun, and that one can be plural because it's your main noun.
Got it.
Now, remember what your friends said in the lunchroom?
My friends are mean.
And their grammar was pretty weird. I mean, can bubble own the tea? Can alcohol own the night? Can cheesecake own the factory? Can karaoke own the club?
But Teacher Paul, I made some weirdness too, right? I said you can use my plastics fork.
Well, you did say that, but that was before you knew about noun adjuncts. What do you think now? Can plastic own the fork?
Of course not. It's ridiculous. Plastic is the material that the fork is made of. It's a noun. And it describes the second noun, fork. So I should say, you can use my plastic fork.
Good job, Sandra. And thank you for the fork. Okay, let's summarize. We can't use a possessive if the first noun is inanimate or abstract. And if we want to describe something, we can use a noun plus noun, but the first noun should not have a plural S or an apostrophe S.
But Teacher Paul, I'm worried about something. If I use the correct grammar, my friend will never let me belong to their group.
Well, Sandra, belonging to a group is good. But it's also important to remember your group of friends can't own or possess you, just like plastic can't own the fork. You know, maybe if you help your friends improve their English, they'll become nicer.
Got it, teacher.
Whatever the case, you should always respect yourself and your own unique individuality. Only you should choose what kind of English student and group member you want to be.
Okay, Teacher Paul. I'll do my best. Teacher Paul, English and friendship are so weird.
They sure are. But remember,
Weirdness is cool.
My phone screen's too broken. It felt a rage of a pain when it told me you were walking away. So I